18 hands. Others are quick. Okay, let's start. In the question number 3, the 2020 O-level papers, question number 3, they have mentioned that following are the partly shown relational database tables that are used to store information about supervisors, projects, and projects supervised by supervisors in a university. Okay, fine. And they have given it 3 tables: supervisor, project, and supervisor underscore project. The first question, they have said that state whether the following statements are true or false. Okay, let's check. The first statement they have mentioned, supervisor ID is a foreign key of supervisor underscore project table. So, they're asking about, they're talking about the supervisor underscore project table. In this table, they're saying the supervisor ID field, that's a foreign key. Let's check. So how you check if a field is a foreign key is you have to go and check, is this field a primary key in another table? Because one rule we learned about foreign key is that always a foreign key is another table's primary key. So we have remaining 2 more tables. Go through those 2 tables and tell me in which table can you find the supervisor ID field? Now, apart from this, what you call supervisor underscore project, what are the other tables we can find this supervisor field? So supervisor ID field. Exactly. So apart from the supervisor ID, the other table which you can find is a supervisor table. This is the only place you can find. So in this other place, in this place, is it a primary key? In the supervisor table, is supervisor ID a primary key based on the given data? Primary key means in that table that has to be unique field, and in that table that is a field that is used to identify every records. Correct. In this table, this is a primary key, right? So therefore, this statement is correct, which is true. Next, they're saying supervisor. Let me just take it to the corner, which is true. Next, they're saying project ID is a primary key of supervisor underscore project table. So they are saying that this is going to be the primary key here. Let's check. Normally, if you take primary key, there are certain properties of primary key. What is the first main characteristic you all know about primary key? Perfect. The first main characteristic which all of you all are very familiar with is one that is that the primary key values are always unique. So unique means there can't be repetition. The word unique means it can't repeat, no repetitions. Apart from this, there are some other properties as well. That is, normally when you take primary key values, it should never get modified or never change. So you can't be keeping on changing primary key values, never modify or change, right? And the next thing you have to keep in your mind regarding primary key is it cannot be empty. It cannot be empty. So apart from that, it has to be used to identify the record uniquely as well. Okay. So if you go to the given data here, you can see we have the project IDs. If you go and see, we can see P001 is there here, P001 is there here. So because there is a repetition here, based on this, tell me, can project ID be a primary key here? There's a repetition, right? So can it be a primary key? No, it can't. So that statement is false. So for the first statement, if you got true, mark it correct, put 1 mark there. Second statement, if you got false, mark it correct, put 1 mark there. If you have any questions, drop your questions in the chat. Next. Which table needs to be updated to accommodate the following changes? The first thing they have mentioned there is Anura Vijayanayaka is assigned as supervisor for the project P002 with an allowance of 10,000. So they are saying there's a fellow called Anura, it seems. Okay. And he has been assigned as a supervisor for this project P002 and he has got an allowance of 10,000. So first of all, look at the whole database and tell me, is Anura an existing supervisor? Is Anura already an employee in our company? Like, is Anura already a person registered here? I mean, like, signed up here? Correct. If you nicely go to the supervisor table, you can see Anura is already a person who is already there. See, Anura is an existing person. Second, they are saying Anura is going to go and supervise which project? Project P002. So look at the project table and tell me, is project P002 an existing project? Will there be a primary key and foreign key in every table and there can be more than one foreign key and a primary key? Every table will have a primary key. That's definite. Okay. Foreign key, not compulsory. If it wants, it can have. And there can be more than one foreign key, but more than one primary key, no. You can use more than one field to form the primary key. Correct. If you see project P002, that's already a project that has been started. So you can see these two there. So what is the table we have to use to show that this person is working on this project? What is the primary key of the supervisor underscore project table? Both these two fields together. Supervisor ID plus project ID, both fields together. It's like, for example, when I'm calling you without using only your first name, it's I'm going to use your first name, last name both together and call you. Likewise. And there's a special name for such kind of primary key. Now, the primary key, normally primary keys are formed. You always try to form the primary key using one field. Like these columns, these supervisor ID, project ID, elements, these are called fields. Always you try to form them using one field. When you can't form the primary key using one field, you try to form it using two fields or three fields or more, right? We have a special name for the primary key we form using more than one field. How do you call them? Correct. When you are using more than one field to form the primary key, the special name we give for them is composite primary key. Like this. Okay. Yes. So to show that Anura is working on project P002, we have to update the supervisor underscore project. We'll mention here Anura supervisor ID. We'll mention project P002. And here we'll mention the 10,000 allowance he got. So answer is going to be supervisor underscore project. Supervisor underscore project. In the next question, they have mentioned a new supervisor called Pradeep Disanayaka. His supervisor ID is S06, it seems. He has joined the Department of Chemistry and he was assigned as a supervisor for an ongoing project called P003 with an allowance of 15,000. Okay. Always in a question like this, if you highlight, it's better if you can highlight all the keywords or else at least underline all the keywords. First thing they have mentioned is there's a new supervisor called Pradeep Dasanayaka. Sorry, Disanayaka. So to show this portion, to show that there is a new supervisor called Pradeep Disanayaka, which table should I update out of the three? Exactly. I'll go and mention Pradeep's ID, which is mentioned as S06. I'll mention his first name, which is Pradeep. I'll mention his last name, which is Disanayaka. And I'll mention his department, which the question has mentioned as chemistry. I'll mention these data in the supervisor table. Okay. So for the first change that has been, the first table that has to get updated is the supervisor table. Okay. But apart from the point they have mentioned that there's a new supervisor, they have also mentioned that he's assigned as supervisor for an ongoing project P003. Now, when I say ongoing project, is there any updates I should do for the project table? No. Only if it's a new project, I have to mention the project ID and starting date. But because it's already an ongoing project, there is no change to be done here. They're saying he's going to go and supervise an ongoing project with an allowance of 15,000. So what is the table who is showing who are the supervisors working for what project? Let's stay in which table? Perfect. So that's going to be supervisor underscore project table. So to update this table like this, right? So in this question, if you had mentioned supervisor underscore project here, put 1 mark. Supervisor table and supervisor. If you mention both the answers, 1 mark. If you mention all three tables name, 0 marks. Again, keep in mind in question B, if you mention all three tables name, 0 marks. Only if you mention both these tables like this, you'll get 1 mark. Any doubts? drop in the chat, huh? Next. On 15th September, the university started a new project called P006 with Mohammad Nazwar and Raj Selvam as supervisors. An amount of 11,000 is allocated for each supervisor. Write down the new records to be added to the relevant tables. Use a format table name, okay, for each record. First of all, they're saying there's a new project that's being started. So because there's a new project, I'm going to update the project table. So I'll mention the answer here for Roman number 3. I'll be like, first of all, you have to mention the table name. So I'm going to mention a project table. And in project table, I'm saying in the brackets, you're going to mention the value we are going to mention for every field. Okay. What if we got only one answer correct? Half marks. I mean, like this. If you mention all, like, or if you mention only one answer, just only one answer, half marks. But if you mention all three answers, 0 marks. So Roman number 3, in project table, there are two fields. One is project ID and starting date. So here they have said the project ID is P06 and the starting date is 15th of September. So I'm going to mention a P006 and started on 15th September 2020. And then they mention that Mohammad Nazbar and Raj Selvam was assigned as supervisor. So Mohammad Nazbar and Raj Selvam, are they existing? Yes. Mohammad Nazbar, Raj Selvam, they're all existing supervisors. So I had to show that they're working on this project. For that, I'd up the supervisor underscore project table. So then I mentioned here supervisor underscore project. Supervisor underscore project. And there are two fields that are getting updated. So I mentioned both of them separately. So first field, I mean, two records. The first record is going to have, let's say, Mohammad Nazwar's ID. That is basically S02. Second field should have the project ID they're working on. So they're going to work on the project P006. Third field is having the allowance. So the question has mentioned the allowance is 11,000. So I mentioned that here. Then again, there's, apart from Mohammad Nazwar, there's Raj Selvam as well. We have to mention that as a separate record. So I'd again put an arrow below this and mention Raj Selvam's ID, that's S03. And I had to show that he's working for the project P006. And he also has an allowance of 11,000. One mistake. All when you're entering data records, avoid mentioning combiner records. That means when you're mentioning 11,000, when you're typing the number here, just mention 11,000 as it is. Don't mention any commas. 1, 2, 3. I mean, they're not cut marks, but that's a better practice. 11,000, 11,000. And yeah, that's the only update we have to do here. Okay. So for Roman number 3, for this you will get 1 mark. For this you will get 1 mark. For this you will get 1 mark. If you want, you can again mention here the name of the table as supervisor underscore project. Better mention, but not compulsory. Like I will recommend if you can mention, but not compulsory again. I know the field's name without writing the record. No, this has to be like this. Isn't it P007? No, no, both of them are here. They're talking about the project we're working on. What is the project both of them are working on? They're both working on the same project, P006. So both has to be PW06 and both had the same allowance. Allowance. Got it? Perfect. Then Roman number 4. In Roman number 4, they are saying if the second arrow isn't there, it's not wrong, right? No, not wrong. Not a problem. Then it's also some, it's you can, if you want to mention both in the same line, you can mention both in the same line by putting a comma here. Like you can put a comma here and mention that second brackets here. That's also fine. Not a problem. If you write the correct answers with wrong ones, it's like for each answer you get 1 mark. So for the first answer, 1 mark, second row 1 mark, this third one 1 mark. Okay. Next. In Roman number 4, they're saying what are the most appropriate tables to join to write a query to find the department names of the supervisors who supervise the project PW01. So you're going to find the department names of the supervisors who supervised the project PW01. Now, if you were given that task, if I ask you, okay, go and tell me who are the what are the departments the people are working in, the people who supervise project PW01, if you were supposed to find that, which table you will go through first? Okay, I'll make your work easy. I'll call this table 1, table 2, and table 3. Which table you will have to go through first to find the department names of those who supervised project PW01? Actually, you're going to go to the third table, right? In the third table, you will go and see, okay, the project PW01 has been supervised by total how many people based on the given data. Correct. Based on the given data, you can see there are two people who have supervised their project. Okay, one is S02, one is S04. Now, if you want to find the department name they are working in, S02 and S04, the department they are working in, now where do you go? Table 1, 2, or 3? Perfect, table 3. So first of all, you go for table 3, then you have to go to table 1. Okay, so when I mention the answer, we don't have to mention the order. We can mention any order you want. But the point is, what happens in query is, it's just like as like manually, like if you're supposed to find the answer, how you're going to find the answer. That's the same perspective, how query works. Okay, so answer here is going to be supervisor underscore project, supervisor underscore project, and supervisor table. So if you mention this, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, put 3 marks there. Order is not important, but just mention the table name. Okay, those who have any questions, drop in the chat. Others tell me out of 10 marks, how many marks I got. Good job, Haya. That's a good improvement, actually. I think you should do. Nice. Why did you go, Maulana? Okay, perfect. Next. By the way, you all are done with the 21 paper as well, right? I'll just put your hands down. Yeah, those are done with the 21 paper, raise your hands up. Because I asked her to do this early itself. Okay. Okay, I'll start checking your answers. So in the 21 paper, they have mentioned there, following are the partly shown database tables that are used to store Correct. That I used to store details about food items, purchases, and supplies of school canteen. The canteen sells food items with which are purchased from the suppliers. Okay. So you have the different items we have in the canteen. Okay. Here we have the purchases. Again, the purchase we made from the supplier. If you look at the table, if you look at the description properly, it is not the customers purchasing from the canteen. It is okay. So normally, if you take the canteen, we have the customer and we have the canteen now. So here we're not talking about the purchases the canteen make from customer. Instead, we're talking about the canteens purchasing from the supplier. Okay. This is what we're talking about. And then we have the supplier table. Okay, fine. So first question they're asking, write down the primary key of the purchase table. In the purchase table, the primary key. Can we take item ID alone? No. Can we take supply ID alone? No. Can we take purchasing price alone? No. Can we take item ID and supply ID both together alone? Yes, actually we can. Because here we are talking about, sorry, we are not talking about the purchasing made from the canteen to the supplier. This is not what they're talking about. They're talking about the purchasing price. The correct name should be purchasing price, actually, not purchase table. Okay. So purchasing price is talking about the price. Now, for example, let's say I'm having a canteen, right? Now, in your canteens, now you have short eats, right? Canteen does not make that short eat on their own. Obviously, they're going to go and buy that short eat from this one. They're going to go and buy that short eat from a person who's making, and they come and sell. Okay. So what happens is there is going to be a price. The canteen will, now let's say there is a lady who makes the rolls. Okay, example, let's take rolls. Huh? And here we have the canteen. So what the canteen might do is canteen might, let's say, buy the rolls from this lady for 40 rupees, and canteen might sell you, that is you're the customer. They might sell you for, let's say, 80 rupees. Example. Okay. So in that case, we call this as a, for the canteen, this is called the purchasing price. And for the canteen, this is called the selling price. So in the purchase table, you have the purchasing price. In item table, you have the selling price. Okay. Not a problem, have some issues. You told a table can have only one primary key. Okay, only one primary key. So what is that primary key? Did I say a primary key can be formed only using one field? Did I say a primary key can be formed only using one field? No, I said a table can have only one primary key. For example, imagine something like this. In your school, for you to come inside the school, just if you were, I don't know what is school, it varies from school to school, but in general, normally if you go for school, let's say you're entering your school, you're having the uniform correctly, you're wearing the uniform correctly, okay? But you're not wearing a shoe. Let's say you're a boy and you're not wearing the belt, you're not wearing the tie, you are just wearing the shirt and trouser. Do you think they'll allow you to come to school? In entrance, they'll be having a person will be there, right? Will that person allow you to come to school, the prefects or the teachers or whatever? No, they'll stop you. Now again, let's say you're wearing everything properly. You're wearing your shirt, trouser, everything properly. You're in a perfect uniform. I don't know, it varies from school to school, but in majority of the school, you all might notice, apart from the uniform, when you enter in the school, they'll ask you to show something else as well. But like if you don't bring that income, sometimes they will not take you inside the school. Exactly. Apart from the uniform, they are also expecting you to show your SRB. Okay. So I will call this as an authentication method. Authentication means seeing is it correct? Are you actually a correct student? Okay, I'll call it authentication method. So if you come and ask me how many authentication methods your school has only one authentication method. That means to check if you're a student or not, they're not going to come and ask you, hey, what is your name? What is the name of the principal of our school? Will they ask those questions in the entrance? Will they come and ask you general knowledge questions? Who is your class? What is your class teacher's name? Don't tell lies, blah, blah, blah. Are they going to do all those stuff? No. There's only one authentication method. What is that one authentication method? Checking in the entrance certain things. And how many things they're checking? Uniform and SRB. Okay. So, but let's say, for example, you're going to go for this one. You're going to go for some other thing. For example, let's say you're going to go for a concert or something. In the concert, are they going to use uniform and SRB as authentication method in your school's concert? No. How do they, when you're going for school concert, how do they allow only you all to come inside? They'll give you something. What will they give you? Mostly exactly. They'll give you a ticket or else they'll give you an invitation card. So these are authentication. These are also an authentication method. Purpose is same. Purpose is same, no? To make sure only. Okay, to make sure only allow students. So if you ask me how many authentication methods they'll have, for every situation they'll have only one authentication method. For concert they'll have one authentication method. For what do you call entering the school, they have another authentication method. So every situation they're gonna have only one authentication method. But that one method can have multiple steps. Depends. So here only one thing is required. But here two things are required. Same thing in tables as well. In tables, every table can have only one primary key. That doesn't primary key is not always about one field. Primary key can be one field, primary key can be two fields, three fields, four fields, five fields. There is no limit for that. The point is, these things should be there to call you as a primary key. I mean, to what you call to identify a record. Okay. So in certain tables one, certain tables two, certain table can be three, but they're not three standalone stuffs. That means, for example, only if you have the uniform, you can't, but no SRB, then you can't come to the school. Or only SRB, no uniform, you can't come. You have to have both. That's how primary key, this, when you have these multiple fields, it has to be formed. Okay. So talking back about the primary purchase table, in purchase table, the primary key is going to be item ID and purchase ID, both supply ID, both together, because the first record is talking about the item F01. Okay. Second record is also talking about item F01. But what is difference between them is what is F01? F01 is actually talking about T1. So you can see T1 we are getting for 30 rupees as well, 35 rupees as well. We are getting for 30 rupees from S07 and we are getting for 35 rupees from S04. So in the purchase table, we are talking every item's price from different suppliers. So in this record, we have the price from supply S07. In the second record, we have the price from S04. Every item's respective price from the supplier. Every item's respective price from the supplier. So in the purchase table, the primary key is going to be formed by using item ID plus supply ID. These two fields together. Got it? SR, not SBR, I mean SRB. SRB, student record book. Yes. 1 mark. Write down the foreign keys in the purchase table. So foreign key is another table's primary key. Okay. Do we have purchasing price as a primary key of another table? Do I have purchasing price as a primary key of another table? No. Do I have supply ID as a primary key of another table? Yes. Which table? Correct. In supply table, supply ID is a primary key. Okay, that's a primary key. So one is supply. These are correct foreign key. Next, can we take item ID as a primary foreign key as well? How do we check it's a foreign key? It has to be another table's primary key. In another table, do we have it as a primary key? If so, which table? Do we have it as a primary key on the table? If so, which table? Correct. We have it as a primary key in the item table. So therefore, that is also a correct answer. So now we can say there are two foreign keys. One of the foreign key is item ID. Another foreign key we have is supply ID. If you notice properly, in the first question I used a plus, second question I used comma. So comma means these are two different answers. The one answer, the another answer. Plus means both of them are used together. Keep that in your mind. Huh? First one, both of them are together. Here, both of them are two individual foreign keys. Is one key, that's another key. If you got it correct, mark it correct, put one mark. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Huh? Next. Which table needs to be updated to accommodate the following? The supplier S004, he changes his location to Rajgiri. Which table should I update? Which table has the supplier's location? What if you miss the plus sign? If you put comma instead of plus, no marks. Correct. Supply ID is the table that has, sorry, supply table is the table that has the location of suppliers. So if supply is changing his location, we'll update the supplier table. Perfect. Next. The canteen decides to increase the selling price of a fish roll to 80 rupees due to a 10 rupee price increase by the supplier. I'll call this table 1, table 2, and table 3. Tell me, for the Roman number 2b, what are the tables that are updated? If I write only one foreign key, they're asking me write down the foreign keys. So you mention both. Okay, I'll put 2 marks there. If you mention only one, put 1 mark. If you mention both, put 2 marks. So 1 mark for this, 1 mark for this. Okay. If you mention only one, then put 1 mark. For second question, can put and instead of comma. Yeah, fine. Correct. 1 and 2. The reason why 1 and 2 is 1, obviously everyone knows why should we update now, because selling price is going to change to 80 rupees. Where fish roll. Fish rolls price 70. That's going to change to 80. So definitely this has to get updated. Okay. But then the question has also mentioned another extra fact. They mentioned that there's a 10 rupee price increase by the supplier. So that means we're going to update here this table as well. We're going to update saying, okay, the supplier's price is increasing as well. Right. So therefore, we'll update both the tables there. That is purchase table and supplier table. It's going to be purchase table and purchase table and item table. Both these tables has to be updated. Item table has to update the selling price. Purchase table has to update the purchasing price. Okay. First one, instead of plus, can we put and? Cut that and then put plus, but depends on who's marking your paper. Yes, Nafakin. So purchasing price indicates the buying price from the supplier. Yes. Okay. So for that question, if you mentioned supply ID here, put 1 mark. If you mentioned purchase table and item table, put 1 mark. If you mention all three tables name, 0 marks. If you mention only one table's name, half marks. Okay, if you mention all three tables name, 0 marks. Only one table's name, correct, then 1 mark. Next. A new supplier, Kamal, from Vellavatta, starts supplying vegetable rolls to the school canteen for 50 rupees. Write down the new records to be added. Okay, first of all, they're saying there's a new supplier. To show that there's a new supplier, it update which table? Perfect. To show that there's a new supplier, we're going to update the supplier table. And supplier table's first field has supplier ID. That's going to be S008. That's mentioned in the question here. Second field has supplier name. So here supplier's name is Kamal. And the third field has a value, supply location. Here they have mentioned location as Vellavatta. So I'm going to mention as Vellavatta. Then, okay, then they have mentioned that he's supplying vegetable rolls. So let's see, do we have vegetable rolls as item? Yes, the vegetable roll is already there as item F04. So we have to show that he's supplying vegetable rolls. So for that, I'm going to update the purchase table. I'm going to say in the purchase table, the first field has a item ID. So a vegetable roll is, we can see F04. So I'm going to mention, sorry, F004. And second field is having supply ID. So here the Kamal supply ID is S008. And the question is saying he's supplying for the canteen for 50 rupees. So I mentioned 50 here. To mention this correctly, for the first one, 1 mark. For the second one, 1 mark. Any questions you don't have here? If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Huh? Roman number 4. What are the appropriate tables to join to write a query to query means again obtain data from a database to find the names of the suppliers who supply fish roll to the canteen? What are the tables you have to join? 1, 2, 3, or 1 and 2, or 1 and 3, or 2 and 3? Or what are the tables you have to join? You want to get the names of the suppliers who supply fish roll to the canteen. How did we get F04? The question is saying he's supplying vegetable rolls. So if I go for the item table, in item table I can see vegetable rolls item ID is F04. Got it? Okay. Yes. Now, when you want to find who are the people who are who are what you call supplying fish rolls, first of all, I have to go for this table, and here I have to figure out what is a fish rolls ID. So if I go here, tell me what can you see as a fish rolls ID? Fish rolls item ID as per the item table. What is fish rolls item ID? Perfect. That's F002. So after I know fish rolls ID, now I'm going to come and see who are the people who are supplying. In the given data, it's not there because again, the question has not given all the data. Question has given only few data. Okay, that's why if you notice the question properly, in the top picture they'll mention following are the partly shown database tables. Partly shown means it is on the full database. Just in every table, they have taken only few records and they're showing you, right? So if you come with the purchase table, even though it's not visible here, there are records here containing who are the people who are supplying the purchase. See, who are the suppliers who are supplying F02 item. So once you figure out the supplier ID, then you come for the supplier table, and from supplier table, you can find their respective names. That's the order. Okay. So for Roman number 4, the answer is going to be all three tables, which is if I'm going to tell the no order is not important, but if I'm going to go in the order, first we go for the item table and find out Fisher Rolls ID. Second, we go for the purchase table. Here we find out all the supplier ID of those who supplies fish roll. Third, we find out all the names from the supplier table. So these are the order of how you find the answer. If you mention all three tables like this, put 1 mark each, total 3 marks there. Only one table, 1 mark. Only two tables, 2 marks. All three tables, 3 marks. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Those who have any questions, drop in the chat. Others tell me out of 10 marks, how many marks I got here. Why it's not 2 and 3? Because if I'm just showing only 2 and 3, sorry, 1 and 3. Okay. Look at only 1 and 3 and tell me. Just look at only 1 and 3 and tell me. What are the names of the people who are supplying T-bar? Look at just 1 and 3 and tell me. What are the names of the people who are supplying T-bar? Nizla for the first question. You cut, what did you mention? We mentioned Kaba. Just cut that command, put plus and give marks. Okay, coming back to the question. So without that second table, can you find out who and who are supplying? Can't find. Can or can't? Can't. Now if I show the second table, now tell me who are the people who supplies T-bun for the school? Umar, cut the plus and use comma. Now look at the given data and tell me who are the people who wait, you can't find both the people's name, but at least one person's name you can find. Tell me at least one person's name who supplies T-bun to the school. There are two people who supplies, but out of the two people, tell me one person. No, Atif, there can be two suppliers who are supplying for the same price. So no. Yeah, Khadija. Correct. But now if you want, and I'll tell Atif, wait. Okay. So if you notice here, when I ask you who are the people who supplies T-bun, first of all, your brain might go for the T-bun item table, and here you'll go and find, okay, what is T-bun's item ID? So once you go here, you can see T-bun's item ID is F01. Now you'll come with the purchase table and find out, okay, F01 is supplied by whom and whom. So here you have F01 is supplied by whom and whom? S007, S004. But still you don't have their names. To find their name, you might come here, and here you might tell S04's name is what? Shane. So to tell you that, to give me the answer called Shane is supplying T-bun, you have to go through this table, as well as this table. You have to go through all three tables. Got it? Good job, Jelly. Perfect. So one of you are asking, why can't in the purchase table, why can't we take supplier ID? Sorry, item. Let me again check. Item ID, right? Supply ID plus purchasing price. Supply ID plus purchasing price. Okay. When you take one supplier, first of all, tell me, will one supplier supply a maximum of only one item, or one supplier can supply more than one item? Only one or more than one? More than one. So let's say the supplier is going to supply T-bun, and let's say the same supplier is supplying fish bun. Also, not T-bun. Let's take fish bun and let's just see a sample bun. So let's say he's giving fish bun also for 50 rupees for the shop. He's giving seen sample bun also 50 rupees. So same supplier, same purchasing price will be there for both. Make sense? Exactly. So therefore you can't take only those two. Fish roll item ID is not there in the purchase table, right? It mentions only fish roll number. If a question comes like this, can you check other rows and find the answer? Only fish roll number. Okay. If a question comes like this, can we check other rows and find the answer? They will not ask you, it's very rare they come and ask you to, what do you call, ask you all to tell the answer. I think in 2016 paper it was there. Like they were asking you to go through the table and tell the names of the people. Like it was electricity question. They were, oh no, they also, it was not asking the answer. Only in MCQ they used to ask the answer, but you call what is the name of the book this person, it was library scenario. I think, what is the name of the book this person booked or something killer. In MCQ they ask, I think. See here. Who is the author of the book titled Mathematics is Fun Killer? In MCQs, they can ask. In part two, they don't normally ask. Again, if they ask, most they'll ask with the given data. They'll not ask you a question where you don't have answer. Obviously, you'll be able to compute the answer. That's the next topic. I'll come wait. I inform Khadija. I'll double check on that. Any other questions regarding this? Okay. I'll teach you a database relationship. I already thought it, but I'll just tell you. I even gave notes for it, man. Um, if you look at these two tables, let's say you get a question asking you what is the relationship between the done. Okay. So let's say you get a question asking what is the relationship between the so this is talking about borrowing some items, okay? Lending and borrowing items in a school scenario. They have given three tables. Let's say they ask you the connection between what is the connection between student table and borrowed item table. They're asking me what is the relationship between these two tables. First of all, I'll give you all 1 minute. Just go through both the tables and tell me what type of relationship both these two tables have. So for your information, there are three possible relationships a table can have. One of the relationship is one-to-one relationship. Another one is called one-to-many relationship. Other one is called many-to-many relationship. So go through both these table and tell me what type of a database relationship do you think student table and borrowing table has? Okay, so let me show you how you can find the answer. By now, you should have found the answer. If you did not find the answer yet, then look at the border or look at the screen. Huh? How you find the answers? There's a template for any question, any database question. There's a fixed template. Just write both the tables' name. Below this, write number one dash a box. Number one dash a box. Step number one. Compare both these tables and tell me, are there any data common in both the tables? Like there's data that's stored here as well as here. Is there any data that's commonly stored in both these two tables? But perfect. The common data in both the tables is a student ID. We have student ID here also, we have student ID there also. So our comparison is going to be made based on student ID. We're going to compare both these two tables regarding student ID. If I take one student ID here, for example, S01, here the student ID S001, maximum how many times I could find S01 in the borrowed table? Only once or many? Many means more than one, na? Maximum how many time can I find that S001 in the again, don't think only on the given data. Think practically. Practically, one student, now, but what is the borrowed item table talking about? Borrowed item table is talking about the items borrowed by a person. So you can see item number 002. That is basically volleyball. Volleyball was borrowed by Kamalan on 13th. So you'll be okay. Kamalan can borrow this volleyball only on 13th, and Kamalan can have only once in his lifetime he can make a borrowing, or can Kamalan borrow multiple times? Exactly. Today also Kamalan can borrow, tomorrow also he can borrow. Today he can take volleyball, tomorrow he can take badminton racket, day after tomorrow he can take cricket. There is no fixed thing. Okay. So the Kamalan's what do you call student ID maximum it can be there multiple times here. Okay. So one student ID can be present multiple times in the borrowed items table. So if you can see it multiple times there, you can put M there. Now in the given example, you can't see S001 multiple times. But if you take S002, see S002 is there here, here as well as here. So one S002 here, this one fellow here can be seen more than one time here. Okay, so that's why I put many here. One student can borrow multiple items. Is that part clear? So you take one record here and compare. This one record can be connected to how many records here. Okay. Now vice versa. If I take one record in the now here I'm seeing the second portion, what's going to happen is I'm going to take one record in the borrowed items table. So if I take this single record, let's take the last record. This record is regarding the borrowing made by how many student? One student or many student? This specific record, this one record here, I can connect it to how many students in the borrowing student table. Exactly. That one record there, I can connect it only one record in student table. That record which I have circled in pink color, that is the borrowing made by whom? Yes, borrowing made by S002, which is whom? Kamal. So one record here can be connected to a maximum of only one record here. Maximum of only one record here. So I put one here. Now the final answer will be the two values you have in the box. What are the values you have in the box? 1 and M. So the relationship is one-to-many relationship. This is how you find relationships between tables. You have to see both the sides, huh? From here to there, there. If both are 1 and 1, it's 1 to 1. If both are M and M, it's many to many relationship. Clear? That's how we do database relationship questions. Anyways, leaving that thing aside, I'll give you 10 minutes. Dun, dun, dun. Not 10 minutes, yes, 7 minutes. At 6:10, I'll start discussing this question. To do this question, okay. Good job. If you have any questions, drop in the chat. Others, I'll give you 7 minutes. Quickly do this question. I'll put your hands down. So once you're done with this question, raise your hands up. Huh? Either there's a small issue in there, I'll send a message in the group. Just check the group, okay? Is this the first type of set of questions you all will be doing from part 2, like database questions, program questions? Set. What do you mean first type of set of questions? I didn't get your point, Zule. First set of questions from part two. So you all have done many other set of questions. Actually, we started, yeah, database programming, HTML we started, and HTML we are done. In database, with today we are done. And then in part two, the first question is a part two. First question is a compulsory question. That's also done. So only balance is in spreadsheet there are few questions, and in programming there are few questions. So yeah. When are you doing the programming? I will be just going the flow. Mostly coming Thursday, I might do programming the recap class. Is tennis racket and badminton racket the same? No. Tennis racket is very thin, like it's not as strong as. Sorry, badminton racket is not as strong as tennis. Tennis is used to play with the tennis ball. You play cricket, and badminton racket you have the shuttlecock, which is very light. Timer Khanum. I didn't put the time. It's 6:10. I'll start discussing this. 3 more minutes. Those are done. Raise your hands in Zoom. Huh? Have you approved the tickets because seats waited more on the biometric? Oh no, I'm still checking. There's that day I'll tell you. Last Sunday, from around 10 p.m. until 5 a.m., me and Rakim, we were approving invoices. So you all might have most of you would have got the approval message on that time. You know, if you nicely go and see this, not everyone. Majority of you must have noticed we got the approval at that time, that Jamathila. But the reason is it's, and still there is more than 100 invoices pending, man. It's a big headache approving invoices. So don't worry. Anyways, ICT seminar, there's more than 50% ticket has sold out. And there's a video that's being cooked. Okay, let me just see there's any, do you by any chance have time lapse videos from then? I should see. I can show you the promo video. Wait, I'll show you. Even I didn't see the video. I mean, I saw the version one. Okay, because version one I made it, and then version two I gave them to make it, and then version two they had some errors. So then I made the version three. Let me show you. There's 1 more minute after that question is done. I'll show you. Are there tickets left? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Around 60% is sold, as I can remember. I'll double check the count to be precise. Yeah, half silence is check any of the invoices. That's what I was saying. Let me show you that video. I am the only person who leaks these promo videos before it's officially released, man. I should not do this with you. So yeah, it's not still approved because I'm still checking one by one. As soon as possible, I'll get it up. Okay. Anyway, the video. It's just a 10 seconds video. Nothing big. But yeah. I'll show the original video without any cuts if you really want. This is the original video without any cuts. This is the video which I first made. There's no sound, nothing. So from this only you made that video. Yeah. Seminar payment 2000. That's just so fun, man. Oh, where I should purchase online tickets? Same place. We have this website called seminar.mas. If you do card payment, you'll get approved then and there. Just the bank transfer, it takes time. So if you're coming for if you just go for the website called seminar.master online, the physical tickets you can get from here, Colombo, and online tickets, I mean online seminar tickets you can get here. Yeah. Okay, time up. Let's check your answers. I sent you some. I'll check, Julia. I'll check. It is uploaded, Hannah. Okay, let's check your marks. I mean, check your answers. The question is saying write down the primary key of the borrowed items table and borrowed item. The primary key of the borrowed item. What is the answer I all wrote? Let's see. Ta-dun, ta-dun. What is the primary key of the borrowed items table? People are selling this dance sticker in black color, so they're black. Oh, I never knew that. Actually, no, I'll message this number. I mean, it is working, but I don't, it has been several months since I checked it. I'll check, Julie, I'll check. Today, last, I it. Nice. Yeah, I can check the messages as well. So you just message saying that you want to you just address my name and message. I will check it. Okay. Not exactly. It doesn't show on the website. What do you mean? This is not Seminar Master IT, Seminar Master Online. A recording. Go for the My Schedule page and pass task. Okay. First of all, I'll tell you all what is the wrong answer, and then I'll tell you what's the correct answer. Huh? Because majority of you all might fall for this one here. I'll show you that, and then I've been seeing this Grid Studio in all MA posts. Basically, we work with around 5 10 designers. That's the only designer who puts his name in all the posts. But again, that video credits 50% credits has to come to me because that original video was made by me, not him. This that white color stuff, that video was done by him. Cuts were done by Rahim. That animation I did. So it's like, yeah. Anyways. Hannah, check the group at it because I posted all the record in the group even. Anyways, so they ask in the borrowed item. Some of you all must have mentioned first once I saw borrowed date time. So borrowed date time is wrong. The reason is because sometimes it's very, 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 very rare. But there is a possibility. Let's say, okay, I'll tell a possible, which is not rare. Okay. For example, let's say we have this fellow called Saman. And let's say someone is going to borrow the badminton racket, or let's say he's going to borrow a volleyball, as well as let's say he's going to borrow a basketball. So on the same day, he's going to borrow. Let's say today he goes for that borrowing place. Let's say there's a sport department where he can go and borrow. So let's say he goes to the sport department to borrow. And what happens is he's going to ask that sport department fellow, to do that. Okay, he has going to ask the sport department fellow to give the volleyball and basketball. So what's going to happen is in that scenario, you're going to write volleyball's ID, basketball's ID, someone's ID, someone's ID. He has the date and time is going to be same for both. Return date will be null. Null means we don't have value for return date. Okay, but borrowed date and time is going to be the same for volleyball as well as basketball. Okay, so therefore it can repeat. Borrowed date time can repeat when you're borrowing multiple items at the same day. Got it? Item ID plus student ID. Now comes the next question. Let's say today I went and borrowed a basketball racket. See, a badminton racket. How can you take a basketball racket, man? So if I go and obtain a badminton racket today, can't I go and borrow that same badminton racket next week? Can or can't? Today I borrowed a badminton racket. The same badminton racket, can I go and borrow next week? Okay. So in that case, here also you will have badminton racket. Here you will have the student ID. Next week, when I'm going to borrow the same item, the same badminton racket, the same ID is going to repeat. So therefore, those two alone is wrong. Got it? Now comes the next one. Let's say today I went and took the badminton racket. While I am taking the badminton racket today, the same time, can someone else also come and borrow the same badminton racket? There is a badminton racket, let's say 001. I went and took it. At the same time I'm taking it, same millisecond, can anyone else can come and take it? No. So therefore, in the borrowed items table, the primary key is going to be item ID plus borrowed date time together. Okay. So the first record is talking about item number 2 borrowed on 10th February. The last record is talking about item number 2 borrowed on 6th April. The second record is talking about item number 4 borrowed on 13th February. Item number 4, sorry, borrowed items table, the record number 4 is talking, so the third record is talking about item number 4 borrowed on 5th April. So when you're explaining each record, you'll be like, this item borrowed on this date, this item borrowed on this date. That's how you're going to identify each and every item. No need student ID? No need. Why do you need student ID? I always told you, now finding the primary key, you try to form it with the least number of fields. If you can form it only using one field, perfect. When you can't using one field, then you go for two fields. Only if you can't with two fields, you go for three fields. No need, Hannah. But so the item ID is modified, right? Like 004 is repeated twice. Okay, so when I said primary key, I said is a primary key. Again, I told you that school example. Can you come to the school only with SRB? Here, the authentication is not only the SRB. We are taking item ID and borrowed data both together. Together, are they repeating? Here we had 004 here and 13th February. And here we had 004 with 5th April. So together, are they repeating? Together means here and here, both should be the same. In yellow and orange, green, both should be the same. Borrowed date time plus date item, yeah, correct. No. So when you say composite primary key, we are talking about taking both together, not separately. Yeah? Together, they should not repeat. And together, they will not repeat. They can't repeat together practically. So that's the primary key here. If you mentioned additionally student ID as well, your answer is correct. Huh? They will give you marks, but not needed. Let's see, Mara. Sometimes they might give you marks for this question, but not needed. Why do we take borrowed date time? Without borrowed date time, then what else are you suggesting to take? What's your suggestion? Item ID, student ID, and borrowed time. All three were mentioned on the answer sheet. You can't depend on the answer sheet. Do you think answer sheet is 100% correct? You have to check the marking scheme. Do you have the original marking scheme? You can't depend on answer sheet. Huh? Answer sheet is just a random teacher making a marking scheme. If you're taking a marking scheme, take the official marking scheme from the government. This is which paper? 22 paper. Go and check is the official marking scheme available. See, master guide is not official. That is the official marking scheme. That is then DoINO's website. Why not student ID? You mean student ID alone? Item and student. That's what I said to me. For example, let's say I'll forget about the numbers. I'll just write text here. I have here bat, pin, and racket, and I have a student. Let's say I borrowed this today. Can I borrow the same item today borrowed and after 2, 3 days I returned it? The same item can I borrow next month as well? The same bat, pin, and racket, the same person, can he borrow it next week or I mean next month? Is it possible? So if he borrows in the same thing, if he goes and borrows next month, there's repetition. No, same item ID, same student ID, same item ID, same student ID. So if we take only both of them together, there is repetitions. Primary key can't repeat. All three fields not recommended. We don't need to take all three fields because primary key always try to form with the least number of fields. You can give marks for today, but avoid that in exams. Why student ID and date time is wrong? I told you another example, right? I do an example in the first itself. Let's say Shane is going and taking two things. He's taking the badminton racket. I said basketball earlier, but let's say he's going to the badminton racket, and let's say he's going to the volleyball. So at the same time, he goes to the reception. I mean, so the sport department, and he'll be like, I want these two things. So sport department, they'll give him one bill. Okay, in that one bill, we'll have Shane here, we'll have badminton racket, we'll have Shane here, we'll have volleyball. Date and time is going to be the same. So it's going to be Shane, same date, Shane, same date. This time he took the basketball, so badminton racket and volleyball is going to be the same. Correct, is true. What about item ID and return date time? Can primary key values be empty? Null means empty. Can primary key values be empty? I said it, you can't, primary key values can't be empty. Null means empty. So therefore you can't take return date time. Okay. Next. Write down the foreign keys of borrowed items table. So for borrowed items tables, foreign keys are item ID and student ID. Because item ID is there as a primary key here. Student ID is there as a primary key here. Okay. If you want explanation, you can tell me, I'll explain it. But yeah, the foreign keys we have there are item ID and student ID. Item ID, comma, student ID. These are the two foreign keys we have there in that table. If it wasn't null, can I take? If it wasn't null, again, not suitable to take. Because if it wasn't null, you can never have a date. Now, for example, when you're taking, when you're borrowing something when you're borrowing a book from the library, do you exactly tell, I will come and give it on this date? I'll come and give it this date, this time, not even 1 second delay, not even 1 second earlier. Will you go and tell her that? No. So return date is not a value we already know. It's an unseen value. Why is it mentioned as null? Without mentioning null, how can you mention? How can you predict it? Now, these two people have not still returned the item. How can you predict it? Yes, they have not returned it yet. Until they return, it will be done. Yes, that's wrong, Amina. Okay, so for how you take foreign keys, you go and check each and every field. Is it a primary key of another table? Do we have return ID, return date time as a primary key in another table? No. Do we have borrowed date time as a primary key in another table? No. Do we have student ID as a primary key in another table? Yes. Where? Here. It's a primary key here. So because it is a primary key here, it is a foreign key here. It's correct. Then item ID, do we have, is it a correct, I mean, is it a primary key in another table? Yes. Where? Here. So because item ID is the primary key here, in this table, it is a valid foreign key. Always the rule about foreign keys, in another table, it has to be primary key. So each and every field you're going to see, in another table, it's a primary key. Is in another table, is it a primary key? In another table, is it a primary key? So once that question is answered, you get the answer. Okay. Why can't we use the first three fields? I told today you can give marks, but why I'm saying not is you always, okay. In the item table, can both of them repeat together? Item ID plus item type. Can both of them repeat together? Yes or no? Look at the item table and tell me, can both of them repeat together? No. So if you are asked as a question about what is the primary key of item table, will you say the primary key is item ID, or will you say primary key is item ID plus item type? What do you think the most suitable answer? Only item ID is a suitable answer here as a primary key, or item ID plus item type is a suitable primary key? Exactly. But practically, will this repeat? No, it will not repeat. Then why can't we take that as a primary key? That's correct, no? Because when you're identifying records, you identify them with the least possible number of fields. You always form the primary key, the least number of fields. I always tell you, go in ascending order. First you see, can you do it only with one field? You can't with one field, then you go for two fields. You can't with two fields, then you go for three fields. You don't directly jump for three or four fields. Okay. You have to take the minimum number of fields to form the primary key. So if you are asking, can't we take all three fields here? Then the same question can be asked, can't we take all two fields here? Can't we take all three fields here? Or at least can't we take these two fields together? That's not how primary key works. You use the least number of fields to form the primary key. Got it? I'm not saying that answer is wrong. Huh? I'm not saying in this situation, you can take all three as well. Uh, there's a reason for that because in a real database, we don't store it like this. We store the date and time separately. But in this situation, you can take all three. That's why I said if you can mark it correct for here. But practically, that doesn't work like that. So you just keep in mind, use the least number of fields. Do we have to mention a table? If you mention table, how do you, in this question, they are talking only about a specific table. They are being specific about a table. They're not talking about the whole database. They did not tell name primary key or name of foreign key. They said name of foreign key in this table. They're being specific. So you don't have to mention a table name. Which table needs to be updated to accommodate the following? The first thing they have mentioned, the school deciding to allow students to borrow tennis rackets. Currently, do we have tennis rackets? No. So if you're going to allow tennis rackets, which table should be updated? Actually, only the item table. But I'm going to update in the borrowed table. There's nothing to update in the borrowed table. You update the borrowed table only if someone comes and borrows something. We are going to allow borrowing. They never said that someone is going to borrow it. It's like, for example, let's say we have a library question. Do you have a library question? In this question, where? Let's say in this question, they're coming and telling you the school is going to allow, so the library is going to allow people to come and borrow a new book called, let's say, some random science with science for fun killer. Okay. So they're going to update the book table only. Only if someone comes and reserves a book, you'll update the third table. Here, same thing, only if someone comes and borrows that book, sorry, borrows that item, you'll update the borrowed item table. If not, don't need. Suppose they didn't specify which table. They need to mention the table name. Correct. So only item table, huh? So if you mention only item table, put 1 mark. If you mention item table and borrowed items table, half marks. Shane borrowing a tennis racket on 20th April. So when Shane is borrowing a tennis racket, what are the tables you update? In this situation, we are to consider tennis racket already as allowed, okay? Correct. In that case, only the borrowed items table. Because there is no change to be done in the students table. There is no change to be done in the item table. Next. A new student called Raj joined the school for grade 10 and was selected for the cricket team on 25th April. He borrowed a cricket bat on the same day. Okay. First of all, there's a new student called Raj. To show that, I'll update the student table. So I'm going to update the student table first, row number 3. The student table has a total of three fields. Student ID. The question has mentioned his student ID is S150. So I'm going to mention that first. The second field has his student name. His name is what? Raj. And the third field has his grade. Do we know his grade? Grade 10. Then, apart from that, they have mentioned he was selected for the cricket team on 25th April. Okay, fine. He borrowed a cricket bat on the same day. So he has borrowed a cricket bat 005. Do we have 005? Yes. So we're going to update the borrowed items table, and we're going to mention that item ID, that's what 005. The question has mentioned it here. Was borrowed by second field is student ID Raj. Raj is S150. And he borrowed that on borrowed date time is 25th April 2023 at 2 p.m. And return date time. Do we know when did he return the date? Return the cricket bet? No. So when we don't know a value, how do we keep that value as? Perfect. If you don't know a value, always mention that as null. Don't keep it blank. Don't mention dash. Use null. Null means no value. Okay. Yes. So that's the answer of the Roman number 3. 1 mark for this. 1 mark for this. By the way, for the remaining questions, first question, if you mention item ID plus borrowed date time or else item ID plus student ID plus borrow, I'll give you mark for this question. Put 1 mark there. Item ID student ID, 1 mark here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it okay if you answer this question in table form? 0 marks. Why do you think you'll get 0 marks? Null is simple, correct, right? Correct, but write in capital. Because certain programming language will not recognize that. We can also update the item table, right? What are you going to update in the item table? What? What is the change? When you say update, either you have to change an existing record, like do some modification. The word update means you're going to modify an existing record, or else you're going to add a new record. So what are you going to do for the item table? You're going to modify or you're going to add a new? Hmm? There's nothing to do with the cricket table. The reason why table is wrong is clearly they have mentioned it to use this format. Always keep in mind when a question is easy, the marking scheme is hard. How do they make the marking scheme hard? For not following instructions. So if you don't follow instructions, they nicely reduce your marks and go. That's why I always say don't become arpatis in ordering questions because especially easy questions. When it's come to easy questions, only majority of you lose marks because why? Y'all think that y'all know more than the question. So always answer what is asked. Number 4. It is required to find the names of students who borrowed sports items on 5th of April. The type of item borrowed must be also shown. Which tables are needed? Okay, so they are saying you want to find the names of students and also the type of item of the sports item borrowed on 5th of April. To do this, which table you'll go first? Want to find out the names and item types of the things borrowed on 5th of April. Which table you'll be going through first? Okay, I'll make your work easy. Table 1, table 2, table 3. Which table to go first? Those who said table 1. Hmm. What is the answer? Who are the people who borrowed items on 5th of April? Or what is the data you're going to take from here? Those who said table 1, what is the answer you're going to take? Tell me the names of people who borrowed items on 1st of April, 5th of April. Who borrowed? Can we come for the first table and get any data? No. Third table. In third table, what is the data we're going to obtain? What is the data we're going to get? Is it item ID, student ID, borrowed date, return date? What is the data we're going to obtain? Get. Correct. You're going to go and take, what is the date here? 5th of April. You're going to go and take on 5th of April, who are the students who borrowed items and what are the items they borrowed. These are the two data you're going to take. Okay. So once you take this, you can decide what table you want to go. If you can go here for the second table, third table, there's no issues. You can go if you want first table also can go, second table also can go. Okay. But let's say you have this data, 1004. To find that person's name, to find that item's name, you have to come for the item table. And S002, to find the student's name, you have to come for the student's table. So technically, you have to go through all three tables, but your order has to be first you have to come for the borrowed items table and figure out who are the students who borrowed and what did they borrow. So then you can go for the other two tables and find the names. Answer is all three tables, but again, in these questions, they never check the order. I'm saying practically, if you are supposed to do this, that's how you do it. Huh? First, you go for the borrowed items table. And from the borrowed items table, you need to go to your wish student table and item table. Order isn't considered, no. Because you can jump the order practically in coding this. But TNC apply. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll put 4 marks for this. No, not 4 marks. I'll put 3 marks for this question. And for that Roman number, first question B. For first question B, if you mention only item ID, 1 mark. If you mention only student ID, 1 mark. If you mention both, 2 marks. Put the markings like this, huh? Without mentioning all three tables individually, can I mention all three tables simply? Depends who is marking your paper. If the person who is marking your paper is a very kind-hearted person, they'll give you marks. But if it's a person like me, I'll not give you marks. I'm like, why are you so lazy? If you're marking, we'll check the order. No, no, I'll not check the order. I'll not check the order because practically order is not a problem. So again, it depends who is marking your paper. So if you're having a good person who's marking the paper, then they'll be like, okay, Powell is good. Because you know why? I'll tell you the reason. Marking papers, do you think a teacher is going to mark only 10 papers or are they going to mark 100 papers? Minimum. Like averagely, if you're going to take marking, are they going to mark only one paper or are they marking 100 papers, 100 plus papers? Exactly, 100 plus papers. How do you think they mark papers? Do you think they're going to mark papers paper by paper, or do you think they mark the papers question by question? Like everyone's paper they'll take and they'll mark everyone's same question. No, mostly they mark question by question. By normally when teachers are marking papers, if you all know any teachers who are marking, go and ask them how do they mark papers. But you call they always mark papers question by question because why they do that is sometimes for the first person they might put a question wrong. And second person, they might put the question wrong. Then third person, like, why is everyone putting the same answer? Then they'll double check the marking scheme and say, okay, there's a marking scheme error. Because marking scheme can make errors. Huh? So normally when they're marking papers, they'll go question by question. So they'll take, let's say, everyone's paper, they'll go and open database question. Okay. And they'll mark the database question. So when they're marking, they'll mark it fast because they have already by hearted the answer. So they know the answer. Okay, these are the answers, these are the answers. Okay, they mark and go. So in that time, that's why I always say never become Araparijan doing question because when you become Araparijan doing question, they don't have time to waste. Always keep in mind, when teachers are marking papers, they're marking a load amount of paper. So as simply as possible, you keep your answers, you're good to go. Okay. So when you keep the answer in a more friendly manner, they'll be like, okay, has she mentioned this, tick, 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 they'll mark it and go. So when you mention something out of order, like you use synonyms just to show that you're a good literature student, then case par. You're unwanted risking your marks. Anyways, those are any questions, let me know. Others tell me out of 10 marks, how many marks will got. Don't take unwanted risk in papers. That's my advice in doing papers. It's like, for example, You can eat noodles using this one. You can eat noodles using the fork. Fork colors kaatade, you're going to take the chopstick and eat. And when you're eating the chopstick, you're going to spill all the food and eat. There. It's not that it's wrong. It's just that you're making things complex. Because no, order is not a problem. And I repeated it for 1,000 times. I said order is never a problem. But if you are supposed, I'm the reason why I'm asking you all the orders because I want you all to think and answer. I want you all to know how the process of finding the answer is. I don't want your kana pare, okay, this is the answer. So only if you know the order, basically you will be able to find the answer properly. Not waterfall. The correct method is iterative incremental model. You take question by question. In waterfall only paper by paper. Sorry. Waterfall model is correct. This is waterfall model. Because iterative incremental model, you go question by question. See, waterfall model, you go question by question. Iterative incremental model, you go paper by paper. Paper by paper is iterative incremental model. I only joined because I have a class, can I explain my question. Okay. Those who have any question or can stay, us, others who can leave. We're done for the day. We did this paper in school for the first question. She told us that we got marks only if we have version all three. That means she has not created her own database. Or she's blindly believing the marking scheme. Ask her define primary key, man. For both the previous paper, I made the same mistake and got 9. But in this paper, I rectified that mistake and I got 10 this time. Good. Anyways, come back to the point. Let me check your questions. Raise your questions. First question you asked. That is this question. Wait a moment, Amania. Adila, check the group. Did you discuss the second part of the Western points? Not all the questions, some random questions I discussed. The database is done. What is the order? What's the data type of quantity? Where? Which table? I mean integer or numeric. We don't have something called integer in database. We have integer in programming. In database lesson, you learn that is numeric only. Convert the number 876 to binary. 8. This answer is wrong. The question is wrong. What is the mistake in this question? Correct. The largest number you can have in octal is 7. So therefore, this question is wrong. But if you're going to convert 67 to binary, it's going to be 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. Answer is 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, base 2. Yeah. So if you wrote that as answer, you're good to go. And then next, question was if blah 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 is represented, is there in ASCII? What is the ASCII character for X? So X, Y is it? I'll show you the shortest way to do this question. Huh? There's two ways you can do this question. I'll show you the shortest way to do this question. So they are saying X is basically, see, Z is basically equal to 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0 base 2. This is the value of Z, right? So if you are supposed to find the value of X, you're minus 2, right? How can you say that? How can you say like that the question is wrong? Because 8 is not a valid octal number. You can't have a number 8 in octal. Okay, Anna. Hi, remind me in a while, okay? come back here. Okay. So they are given you Z. They're asking to find X. To find X, you subtract how much? In SK, the numbers are given as fixed value. A is mentioned as 65, B is mentioned as 66. It's a fixed value. So if they give you, let's say, C and they ask you to find A, you subtract 2, right? Likewise, if they are given Z and if they ask me to find X, you subtract how much? You subtract 2. Now this 2 is basically, you subtract 2 in decimal or you subtract 2 in binary. What do you think? That 2 is what type of number? 2 is a decimal number. See, because ASCII has fixed decimal numbers. In ASCII, what happens is for every character, they're given decimal number 65, 66, 67. Okay. And D is 68. So now if you want to find, if they are given C and they're asking to find A, you subtract 2 from decimal. Okay. So I have Z, I have the value here. From this, I have to subtract 2 from decimal. Now, is it easy to what you call subtract when both of them are in two different number systems? Can you do this properly? Practically, no. Okay, you can't do this. So how can you represent 2 in binary? Now we have 2 in decimal, okay. How can I write 2 in binary? Let's divide. If we go in the division method, you can find it, but how do you think we can write 2 in binary? Yes. Yeah, you can divide and find it like this. So 2 times 1 is 2, 0 remains, 2 times 0 is 0, 1 remains, and write 1, 0. That's a one method. Another method using the 1, 2, 4 method, you can say 0, 0, sorry, 0, 0, 1 kilo. Okay, you can follow any method you want. At the end of the day, 2 in binary is 1, 0. Okay, 2 in binary is 1, 0. So the same subtraction. So what is the subtraction I have? 1, 0, double 1, 0, 1, 0, base 2. From here, I subtract 2 base 10. The same thing I can do it like this. I can say from 1, 0, double 1, 0, 1, 0. I have to subtract 1, 0 base 10 because 1, 0 is representing 2. Is this part clear? Understood how I got that 1, 0? If you follow that method, 0 minus 0 is 0, 1 minus 1 is 0. Then you have the remaining one 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. So this is the fastest method to do this question. So answer is 1, 0. Or you can do the converting and find that's very boring. If you want, you can do. So what's the answer? What's the answer you got there? You got the answer as either is equal to 130, 132. X is 130. That's a 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You did the long method and you got a different answer. Let me check your answer. Let me check. In the other method, if you do, your answer should be, let's see what. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So answer is basically 64 plus 16 plus 8 plus 2. That's 64, 70, 80, 90. Hey, your answer is wrong here. Is it in binary? Is it in decimal is basic 90? That's where a mistake is. How did you get 132? How did you get 132? What you have done there is you have converted from binary, you have converted to octal. 130 is octal value. You have done the octal conversion. Check your answer. We have convert decimal. Yeah, no, so I'll do it in the Thursday class. Converting means convert the decimal and subtracting. Yeah, this is what I do. Like for example, you convert decimal, you get 90 as Z. So if Z is 90, that means Y is 89, X is 88. And then you can say 88 is equal to, well, I'm getting the correct. The call. They call me. So 88 if you take, that's basically 64. 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. And 88 is basically 64 plus 4, 68, 70, 28. 64, 68, 70, 88, 24, 24 is 16, 8. So if you convert, you'll be getting 10110 base 2. 88 is basically equal to 1011. I did the short form, but if you do the proper conversion, the answer is 10110 base 2. What if you have to borrow 1? Then how do we subtract? You borrow. Like for example, let's say you have to find the value of y. To find the value of y, to borrow -1, right? You're asking something like that. So 101110 -1. So add 1 here. So when you add 1 here, it's basically 10 minus 1. 10 is how much? 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. Then you have 0 here. Got it? When you borrow 1 there, it becomes not 0 minus 1. It's become 10 minus 1. 10 is equal to how much? 2, right? So 2 minus 1 is 1. I'll check further. So anyways, that's the way to do that question. Your next question was regarding telemedicine consultation and medical teletraining. Basically, in telemedicine, there is five advantages. One is emergency telemedicine. Then you have something called telemedicine consultation. Then you have what do you call telesurgery. You have medical teletraining. And you have home health medicine. Okay. Emergency telemedicine is where the doctor is going to call a supervisor. Like in hospitals, you have this consultant and all those stuffs, right? Like a senior doctor. The normal doctor is going to call, they say junior doctor is going to call the senior doctor and get advices regarding some situation. Okay. Let's say specialist is calling a specialist. That's like emergency telemedicine. You have emergency situation. In emergency situation, the doctor is going to call the senior doctor. Telemedicine consultation, this is where a patient is calling the doctor. And over the phone, the patient is getting some consultation. Telesurgery, like the name sounds, you're going to do surgery, remote surgery basically. That means you're going to be in one place. The doctor is in one place. The patient is in a different place using what you call robot machines and what you call network. You're going to do a surgery. Okay. Then medical teletraining. Training is where you're going to teach students. Okay. By being away from the hospital. Currently now, let's say all are medical students, and I'm a let's say a doctor who's going to teach you how to do some surgery, or I'm teaching anything regarding science fair. That's medical teletraining. I'm teaching you all something related to medicine, but both of us are not in the same place. You're in your house, and I mean, let's say wherever I am, and from my place, I'm teaching you. So medical teletraining is something like teaching from a far place. Okay. Home health medicine, this is like you monitor the patients while the patient's at home. So there are some devices. Okay. So there's like a device we give for the patient. Patient will be there. That will be there in the whole house of the patient. And what will happen is, what you called what will happen is while the patient is in his house, he will be that device will track him, and those tracking data will be sent for the hospital. So if some data are not very proper, if they feel like the heartbeat is low or something is more or less, then what will happen is they'll go and call the patient and be like, okay, you're admitted now, Killer. They'll come and call you. Roughly got the idea? Your main question was regarding the difference of consultation till training. Consultation is doctors talking with patients and getting advices. Training is like we have medical students, a doctor is teaching a medical student. I'll share you a link in the chat. That is a last week's grade 10 class recording. Last week's grade 10 class recording, I explain all of this in depth. Or you can watch that recording to get the idea of what each of them are. And next. Your next question was I answered this. HLI, no? Is there any questions I missed? Zara. No. Okay, so Hazika, you wanted the Hazika, page 11. Page 11. In page 11, B1. Saman and John works at stores. Fazal works at finance. Raj recently joined the IT division. So Saman and John works at stores. So we have Saman, we have John. Both of them works at stores. We have Fazal. He works at finance. And we have Raj. He works in the IT division. Write the correct values for P2S. So P2S is talking about division ID of each employee. So you can see in the division table, finance division is number 1, stores division number is 2, and sales division number is 3. If you take Saman is working at stores. Stores is what? 2. So I go and mention P is 2 basically. Raj is working as a IT. IT is not mentioned here, but in the first question, if you notice, they're saying there's going to have a new department called IT. So probably IT is 4. There's going to be 4. John, he's working for stores. Stores is 2. Fazal Khan, he's working for finance. Finance is 1. That's how you find the answer to that question. The division number is division ID here. Got it? You mean these two? We have discussed this already actually. Page 10. Page 10, 21, 22. The anti-receivables are generated. If you want explanation, tell her because I'm doing it fast. But if you did not understand the explanation, tell I can re-explain it. Huh? The monthly electricity bills are generated using meter readings to compute the units used. Which tables are to be used to find the monthly electricity bill of Anil? Who is Anil? This fellow. I want to find his monthly electricity bill amount. So I can come with the usage table and find for which month? April. For April. I can find his usage for April here. I mean, not usage for April. April's bill I can find. It's not there here, but let's say example, I'm going to take this. But then to find, no, before that, if you take Anil, at first of all, what are the meters he has? So C001, Anil uses meter number 3 only. Yeah. So after I figure out what are the meters he owns, I will see what are the readings for those meters. So currently we have only one reading. So to find his bill, from the customer table, I have to figure out his ID. From the meter table, I have to figure out all the meters. And from the usage table, I have to figure out the readings. So I have to go through all the 3 tables. Got it? Twenty-two, they are saying which table needs to be updated to when entering the next month's meter readings. Assume the new customer or new meter is not added. So let's say there's going to be a new meter reading. So new meter reading, you go and enter the meter ID and the date you checked it and the number of reading. Because the question is saying there is no new customer, there is no new meter. It's an existing customer, existing meter. You're going to go and update in the usage table. So it's only usage table you use to update the next month's meter reading. Got it? No, Ayla. It is this. Because meter reading can repeat, no? See, the given data. 1000. Primary key can't repeat. Let me check your answer here. Question 21 and 22. Dun, dun, dun. Give me a moment, huh? I'll quickly post that 50% discount income because I have to post at 7 o'clock. Give me a moment. Okay. You asked the question number 21 and 22. Were you dreaming, Maurice? Theory class is well out. We did finished how long time back? Not for all. Oh, no, grade 10s, yeah. 21 and 21. A long rectangular sheet roll is available in a shop. A number of small squares has to be cut from that sheet. Okay, so there's a long rectangular sheet and small squares has to be cut. Okay. A program needs to find the minimum length of the sheet that is sufficient to cut the required number of squares. Minimum length of the sheet that is required. Okay. Which of the following are the required inputs of this program? Width of the sheet roll. Find the minimum length of the sheet. Okay. Width of the sheet roll? No, that's the output. The required number of squares. Correct. The length of a side in a square. Correct. Correct. So width of the sheet roll? No, length is only the output. Width is the input. So we need the width as well. So if this is the length, this is going to be the width. So yeah, all three. All three, no. Why did you mention only A and C? A and C. Because if you don't know the number of squares, then how do you know how much length you need? Because for example, let's say in this width, you can have only three squares in the width. Okay. And let's say each square is going to be 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters height. So let's say the height is 15 centimeters. Okay, height is 15 centimeters, meaning width is 15 centimeters. And let's say you want, what do you call the 45, sorry, you want to have six squares. So if you want to have six squares, then you need a total length of 15 centimeters width. But let's say you want to have 6, 7, 8, 9 squares. To have 9 squares, you need what do you call 5, 10, 20 centimeters width. So number of squares is also required to find that answer. So answer is all A, B, and C. Got that? Hi, clear on that? Okay. And next thing regarding the 22, which of the following tasks requires both iteration and selection? I think we did this question. Yeah, we did this question. Calculating average of two numbers. To calculate average of two numbers, you need the first number, you need the second number. You add both of them together. And once you add both of them together, you divide that number by 2, you find the answer. So it's like step by steps. So if it's a selection, in selection always there's a question or there's a condition that has to be checked. In repetition, there's an instruction to be repeated. Okay. But to check the average of two numbers, there's nothing. Just take two numbers, add both of them, divide them. So therefore, it's a sequence question. Checking if a number is prime number. So to check if a number is prime number means, prime number and composite number, right? So prime number is basically what you called, it's divisible only by 1 and that's it. You can't divide by any other numbers. Okay. So check if a number is prime number or composite number. What you do is you take the number. We did this exact same question. I think it was done in the last Thursday or else last Tuesday. I even created the program. I created a Python program and showed. Uh, Actually, it was done after the class discussion. I think Zara only bought this question last class. So I created a whole Python program and showed how this program would be. But anyways, the point is you're going to take a number. You can find if a number is a prime number like this. You are divided by 2, divided by 4, and divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 4, and divide by 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. You divide by 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right. So when you divide the number by 2, divide number by 3, divide by number by 4, divide by 5. For all these, if the answer is going to be 0, remainder is going to be 0, it's a prime number. Something like this. I can show you the program quickly if you want. The program would look something like this. So check if it's a composite number, you basically do this. If number divide by 2 and if the remainder is 0 and we divide the number by 3 if the remainder is 0 and we divide the number by 4 the remainder is 0 and we divide the number by 5 if the remainder is 0. Sorry, oh, it's a prime number. Okay, I'll put the not here. Then it's a composite number. Let me double check the program is working correctly. Integer input enter number composite number. If not 10 equals 0. Sorry. N divided by 0, n divided by 2, n divided by 3, n divided by 4, n divided by 5. Checking it. Wait. N divided by 2, n divided by 3, n divided by 4. Mistake here. Sorry. In Python, O is simple, not capital. So not right. So enter number. Let's say enter the number 5. If it is divisible by 2, divisible by 3, divisible by 4, and divisible by 5. If it's divisible by any of these, it's a composite. Not, it's a primary. Else print composite number on the program. You enter 5, composite number. You enter 6, composite number. Yeah, not now, I'll send later. So it's prime 2, 3, 4. If it's this or this or this, divisible by 2, it's enter 12. 12 is a composite number, correct. 13. 13 is a prime number, fine. Apart from 13, 1 is also a prime number. So not 1 is not any of the number. 2 is a prime. 3 is prime. And 4 is composite. 5 is prime. So if it's a prime number, 5, 6, etc. So as per this program, 5 should come as prime number. And I get the count as well. So if it's 2, there's 2 conditions. If n is not equal to 1, if n is not equal to 2, and n is not equal to 0. Yeah, this is a program. N is not equal to 3, n is not equal to 5, and equal to 3, not equal to 5. Run. If I enter 13, it should come as prime number. If I enter 14, it should come as composite. It is not equal to 1, it's divisible by 0. So not equal to. not t equal to 2, not t equal to 3, not t equal to 5. Boom. So now 13 should be prime, correct? 14 should give me cos. Composite. Okay, the program is working correctly. So technically, this is how a program to check prime number and composite number will be. There's a one small addition I should do. Normally, one doesn't come on a prime, one doesn't come on a composite. I have not added that part. But if I'm supposed to add that part, what do you call the again? It's a selection type program. So if you look at this program, just forget about the syntax and forget about the codes are written. But are there any loops I have mentioned here? No, it's only selection structure. See, if and else I have used here. So normally using just selection structure, you can tell if basically if you know even not for me to figure out this, it took some time. You notice on the progress that day I did a program without this particle in not is equal to. So only in that program, I think the same program I made that day as well, but that day I forgot to mention this part. So without this part, it'll tell for 2, 3, and 5 also, it'll tell as composite, but 2, 3, and 5 are primary, no? So there's a modification I did now. But the point is, this is how the program would be. So this program, you divide the number and see, is it divisible by 2, 3, or 5? So normally if a number is divisible by 2, 3, and either one of this, divisible by 2, 3, and 5, it's composite. So therefore that answer is going to be also wrong. Okay, that's a selection type program. Got it? Yes, Maurice. Do we memorize a program, the text which you type? No. You never memorize program. You just roughly figure out the logics. Next one, displaying a welcome message. Displaying a welcome message directly start the program, display like hello world or something, right? So that's going to be a select sequence type program. There's nothing what you call big in that program. Okay, so that's a sequence type program. There's nothing in that. Print in the first 20 numbers. Print in the first 20 numbers will be a program. When you print first 20 numbers, we don't, you can make a sequence program as well. How are you going to make a sequence program? You'll make a sequence program saying print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, print 5. That's how you do. But practically, that's not an easy way to do a program like that. The most practical and fastest method you might do is this. You might be it like count is equal, let's say num is equal to 1. First 20 normal numbers, right? First 20 even numbers. So how you print the first 20 even number is like this. It will be like count is equal to 0 and num is equal to 1. There are two ways you can write this program. One way you can write is while count is less than or equal to while count is less than 20. Okay, while count is less than 20, num equals, check, while count is less than 20, num, if num mod 2. See how you check a number is odd or even is you check num mod 2. This percentage symbol is representing mod. So I'm checking if you divide number by 2, is the remainder equal to 0? So I'm saying if you divide number by 2, if the remainder is 0, then increase the value of count. And next you go for the next number. So num equals num plus 1. So yeah. And then you have to print count as well. Print num. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. So if you look at this program, again, figuring out this program will take time. You have to practice a lot of programming questions, and then that's how you get the hang of it. Okay. But the point is, repeating 20 numbers, 20 even numbers, the process is repeating. You display and you print a number, then you check if the next number is odd or even, you print the number. So what's happening is here I'm checking if a number is odd or even, and I'm if it's odd, if it's even, I'm printing. Okay, and then I go for the next number. Again, repeat. Next number, check if it's odd or even, print it. Next number, check if it's odd or even, print it. So there is like a repetition structure going on there. What time is this show? 7:30. Anyways, so what happens here is when you're printing 20 numbers, okay, you can do the same thing using sequence as well, like print 2, print 4, print 2, print 4, print 6, print 8. You can do it in sequence section as well. Okay, but doing a sequence is not what do you call the best way, because 20 numbers you can type 20 lines of codes. But imagine if it's 100 numbers, 1,000 numbers, when the count is increasing, it will be difficult for you. The same thing if I had to change this first 20 to first 100, I just come and change this 20 to 100 here. Now this will give me the first 100 even numbers. Boom. So the most efficient way of writing program is like this. You can create print 1, print 2, print 3, but that's not a suitable method of writing codes. But if you do it in repetition, that's going to make your work easy, because the same thing is repeating, right? You print a number, check you print the first even number, then you go for the next number, check if it's odd or even. Then if it's odd, you go for the next number, check if it's odd or even. If it's even, print, go for the next number. The pattern is same. Got it? Yeah. So therefore, that's a repetition structure. So answer there is going to be the last one, because there you're repeating certain instructions. What is the instruction that you're repeating? Check if a number is odd or even. If it's even, print, and then go for the next number. Is the program. And next question you had was 34 and 36 and 37. Okay, give me 5 minutes. I'll quickly pray and come. You guys can go and pray and come, and then after that, I'll discuss the 34, 36, and 37. Okay? Okay. Ashik, yeah, Ashik, that's fine. No issues. And you can get the recording and you can cover that. You can actually join live, because the online seminar will be after that, like next week of that. Okay, just give me 5 minutes. I'll pray and come in and discuss this question. Okay, I'm back here. Perfect. You asked the 30, 4 36 and 37. A raster image contain n number of pixels having a dimension of 2 by 2. So 2 by 2 inch is enlarged to be a dimension of 2 by 3. What will be the number of pixels in enlarged image? 1 by 2. Okay, let me show you the answer. Let's say this is the image. Here we have 2 inch. Here we have 2 inch. Okay, right. Within this 2 inch area, we have n number of pixels. Okay. Within this 2 inch area, we have n number of pixels. We're going to enlarge this picture, and after enlarge this picture, the picture is going to have 2 by 3 inch. That means extra how many inch we have got? Extra 1 inch. Okay. So is the height same or is the height different? Same. Okay. So in this much amount of area, okay, in 2 by 2 inch area, if you have n number of pixels, that means here we have how the height is 2 inch, right? So 2 by 1. If you nicely notice, this area, isn't it half of this? Like half of this 2 by 2 is equal to 2 by 1, right? Correct? Yes. So that means in the 2 by 2 area, if you have n number of pixels, that in that additional half, you'll have how many pixels? N divided by 2, right? So n plus n divided by 2. That's basically uh, 2n, 3n divided by 2. What will be the number of pixels in enlarged image? Correct answer is 3n divided by 2. But if they're referring to this portion, how much will be there in the enlarged portion? Is enlarged to be a dimension of 2 by 3. What will be the number of pixels in enlarged? So no, most number of pixels, first of all, you take, okay, wait. There's different ways to do it. In 2 inch by 2 inch area, we have n number of pixels. Okay. That means in 1 inch by 1 inch area, we have n divided by 2 pixels. Okay. In 1 inch by 1 inch area, we have n divided by 2 pixels. So that therefore, the pixels per inch is basically n divided by 2. Is this part clear? Perfect. So the enlarged image size is going to be what? Enlarged image size is going to be 2 into 3. Okay. So what is the area of the enlarged image? Exactly. Area of the enlarged image is 6. So that means we know in 1 inch area, so PPI is called pixels per inch. In 1 inch area, I have n divided by 2 pixels. So therefore, in 6 inch area, I should have 6 times n divided by 2, which is same answer. There is no answer in this question. In 1 inch area, I have n divided by 2 pixels because here the question is saying in 2 inch area. Yeah, in 2 inch area, there is n divided by 2 pixels, n number of pixels. So that means in 1 inch area, am I doing it wrong? In 2 inch area, you have n number of pixel. In 1 inch area, it's n divided by 2. Yeah, correct. So it's n divided by 2. That is 3n. Sorry. You can simplify this. 2 times 1, 2 times 3. My bad. 2 times 1, 2 times 3. That's basically 3n. Answer has to be answer number 3. Let me verify my answer. Wait. 2n plus n is 3n. 3n divided 2n plus n is. Wait, if you're. Wait. Mathematical error. In the pink color one, I had a mathematical error. If you're multiplying this by 2, you can't multiply only 1 by 2. Multiplying by 2, it is multiply everyone by 2. Correct. So if you multiply it by 2, you get 2n divided by 2. What is the mistake I'm doing in this part? Answer is 3n. I'm 100% sure about that. I'm just figuring out what the mistake I'm doing here. There's a mathematical mistake I'm doing here. You multiply this by 2, multiply this by 2n plus n is 3n. 3n divided by 2. Yeah, I'm correct. What's the mistake I'm doing here? No, it's talking about area. So therefore, yeah, this is not correct. This is not, anyway, this is wrong. They don't know how you do it. Because you're not talking about you're not talking about the number of pixels in that. It's talking about the area. So 2 inch by 2 inch area has n means 2 inch by 1 should have half of that. So it should be n plus half. Why is the divide by 2 coming? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm still confused why I'm wrong here. But this is 100% sure it's correct. Because why I'm saying is this question is talking about resolution. Okay. When you're talking about resolution, we're talking about number of pixels in that area. Okay. So in a 2 inch area image, if you have a total of n pixels, that means in 1 inch area you'll have n divided by 2 pixels. So area of the new image is going to be 2 times 3, that's 6 inch. In 6 inch area, you'll have n divided by 2 into 6. 2 times 1, 2 times 3, answer is 3n. Answer be n only if they ask what will be the number of pixels in that enlarged portion. In the enlarged portion, it's, yeah, in that enlarged portion, it's 2 by 1. Sorry. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I'll again tell you. In the question, they have said 2 by 2 inch area, number of pixels n. So what is the area of the original image? My bad, sorry. What is the area of the original image? 4 inch. So that means in 4 inch area, You have n number of pixels. Okay. So if 4-inch area have n number of pixels, that means in that whole same image, in 1-inch area, how many pixels will be there? Perfect, n divided by 4. And then we have the new image. What is the area of the new image? 6. So if 1-inch area have n divided by 4, that means 6-inch area will have n divided by 4 into 6. That is, we are doing the cancellation. 2 times 2, 2 times 3, which is my old answer. That's why I said, because my old answer logically it was wrong. I mean, logically it was correct. I said the 3 n divided by 2. So technically they give you marks for this. Free marks. What paper is this? This is oral paper. There is no correct answer in this question. Why am I not reading the question properly? A raster image contain n number of pixels. And having a dimension of 2-inch by 2-inch. Yeah, this is how you should do this question. Just to verify my answer, I just asked ChatGPT and see. It's something like even if you enlarge, the number of pixels don't change. No. When you enlarge it, you enlarge by the number of pixels. In raster image, when you enlarge an image, you are enlarging its number of pixels only. I can show you if you want. That's why we have this concept called resolution. So let's say we have inch, 2-inch, height 2-inch, and pixels per inch 300. So these are 2-inch by 2-inch image. Okay. So let's say in 2-inch by 2-inch, if I want to see how many pixels are there here, image. When I was creating this image, I told you there has to be what do you call the I mentioned that there has to be 300 pixels per inch. So when I was creating the image, I said 300 pixels should be then 1-inch area. So because we're having a 2-inch area image, in 2-inch area image, there'll be a total of 600 pixels. You can calculate and see that here as well. Image size 144 by 144. So 144 into 144 is how much? That is 207, sorry, 20,736. So let's say the same image size. I'm going to convert to inches. Why did you change it to 0.4? I said 2 inch by 2 inch. No, sorry. In 2 inch by 2 inch image, in terms of number of pixels I have here, 600 pixels by 600 pixels. That's basically a total of this number of pixels. The same image, if I change it to 2 by 3, that is this will have a total of number of pixels 600 by 900. ISP higher 40,000. Okay, so early it was 360,000. And then when I change it to 2 by 3, it is 540,000. And this is where n is equal to in 1 inch area it's 300, and then 4 inch area it's 1200. In my example, n is equal to 1200. Okay, so if n is equal to 1200, this answer will be 2 times 2 times 1200. 2 into 2 into 1200. Sorry, 1 inch area has 2, so 2 by 2 is 4 inch. 4 inch area has 300 pixels. Sorry, 1 inch area has 300. So 4 inch area has to have 1200. Yeah. So in this question, when I change it from 2 by 2 to 2 by 3, so in 2 by 2, the number of pixels are equal to the width into height into pixels per inch. So here width is 2, height is 2, and pixels per inch is, in 1 inch I had 300. So number of pixels, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 3 is 1200 pixels. When I change it 2 by 3, that's 2 into 3 into pixels per inch. That's 2 into 3 into 300. 6 times 6000, 6 times 3, 6, 12, 18. 1800 pixels. That's how you calculate pixels per inch. In this, my dots per inch is 300. Yes. So a 2 by 3 image, I have 2 into 3 into 300. Yeah, it is increasing. It's not the same. That's the thing. The paper made me question the decision concept. No, I'm saying, is there any different perspective they're expecting from you all in the question? Like if they ask that specific portion that was enlarged, that's different answer. That portion that was enlarged, again, that's a different answer, not the current answer. Are you sure that this is the mark, what you call oral paper? I can't remember seeing a paper like this. Question number 34. They mentioned the answer is 1, but it could be a mistake. Because marking scheme also makes mistakes. Unless you do something like this. Unless you do something like this. That is where, let's say, here pixels are basically 3240, 4050. Okay. If I enlarge this image to this, yeah, it increases. It do increases. Anyways, the method to do this question that which I said you earlier, that is that what do you call, you find, when they give you the question like this, you have to find out the number of pixels in 1 inch area, and depending on that, you can find the number of pixels in the whole image. That's how you have to do this question. But and the correct answer will be 3 and divide by 2. So it's probably a mistake in the question paper. To verify my answer, let me ask ChatGPT. Is it ChatGPT is normally bad at maths, but let's see. My answer is correct. See this message they mentioned here. See the message they mentioned. If anyone tells the answer still N, they don't understand last stage. Actually, my ChatGPT is a bit this one. My ChatGPT is a bit rough and tough. When you ask question, it'll give you a product. I have made it do that. See, I told the question is wrong. So you wanted the question number 34, and then no, I have modified the question. If you ask generally, if you ask anything, it'll let you. If you ask any kind of question, it'll answer like that only. It'll answer like this. Product. I had done a small settings. I had changed the settings and kept. I have said don't lie to me. I hate lie scalar. So when I answer the question, it'll always give this part called why am I correct or whatever. Anyways, you wanted 34 and then you wanted the 36, right? An audio file of a song contains song silence portion before and after the song, which you have to remove removed. Some labels of the interface are showing. Which of the orders which of the following can be used to remove the silence? First, you use A, and after you use A, you have to select the part of the song you actually want. And after that, you go and say, click on tool D. So click A, select the song portion, click on D. Because why C is wrong is, in C, now you first are saying select the song portion, no? Now, for example, this is how the song might be. But they're saying, first they're saying is you have silence, there's silence, and then there's a song. These are the sound waves, and again silence. Okay. You're saying click A, there's select tool, then select the song portion. So what is the song portion? Here's the song portion. And then you're saying click on tool C. What will tool C do is, tool C is called silence tool. It will silence this part. So after you click on tool C, the output will be something like this. Flat, complete flat. Got it? So instead of tool C, if you use tool D's output will be like this. It will keep only the song. It will remove that silence from left side. So this is called the trim tool, and this is called the silence audio tool. Got it? Okay, next. Which of the following gives the approximate size in bits of a raster image having 275 resolution maximum for 4 colors? So that has not been compressed. Approximate size in bytes of a raster image having a 275 by 175 resolution and a maximum of 4 colors. So the size of the image is, they're saying 275 pixels by 175 pixels. Okay. And to store 1 pixel, okay, inside, sorry, 1 pixel can have maximum 4 possible colors. So now using this data, you have to figure out the bit depth of this image, or else color depth. Right. So basically, number of colors is equal to 2 to the power number of bits per pixel. Okay. So if an image can represent 4 colors, that means BPP is equal to 2. This is maths basically. The number of bits per pixel is 2. Is this part clear? Perfect. So to store 1 pixel, okay, to store 1 pixel, you're going to allocate 2 bits of data. Okay, so the whole image, now you have pressed off load. The whole image has how many number of pixels? The full image has 275 multiplied by 175. These are the number of pixels in this image. The number of pixels in the image is 275 by 175. Okay, and then for each pixel, we are going to allocate 2 bits of space. So here the total number of pixels into 2 bits. So this will give you the number of bits to store the image. But do we want the answer in number of bits? No. The question is saying we want the final answer in number of bytes. Yeah, bytes. So to convert from bits to bytes, so if you take number conversion, you have bits, you have bytes, you have kilobytes and megabytes. To convert from bits to bytes, you divide by 8. Bytes to kilobytes, divide by 1024. Kilobytes to bytes, multiply by 1024. Here multiply by 8. Right? So to convert this answer to bytes, I divide by 8. That's going to be 275 into 175 into 2. This final answer divided by 8. This will be the answer in bytes. So answer number 3. So reason you have mentioned 4 here. The reason 4 is wrong is because you have taken number of colors. We don't decide the what you call size of the pixel by number. When we don't take the number of colors as the size. Okay, number of colors is equal 2 to the power number of bits per pixel. That means how many bits are going to be allocated to store one pixel. So based on that, first of all, you'll find what is the bit depth, and then you can do the computation. Anyways, is that clear? Yeah. These are all common mistakes. And then next. And next you had one more. We take the next question. You can ask now, it's a 5. Which of the following gives the approximate size in bit? It's the same question, right? You had sent it again. Okay. Next. Before I answer Hajara's question, Hajara asked another question. Apart from that, was there any other questions you asked? I don't think so. Didn't Hajara here, right? Okay, it's upside down. Okay, let me first of all rotate the image, and then let me, what do you call, save this image? How do you say? Okay, I'll wait. Which question, Hajras? Eighth one. Okay, let's see. So the eighth question they're saying, assume that a player can receive a score between 1 and 10 for a game. Okay. The score of a particular player, the score a particular player has received in 10 games are stored here. Okay, so this is the game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4 killer. In 10 games, what is the score he got is mentioned there in this array called S. Okay. It is required to find how many times the player scored 5 or higher. Okay. The flowchart for this is shown here. Write down the correct displacement of P and Q. Okay. So if you look at the program, we have a variable called count, and the value of counter they have mentioned as P. Okay. When the program starts, you're going to go and check is I less than 10. Okay. If it is yes, you're going to go and check Si, is it less than or greater than or equal to Q? So Si means, if you look at this program properly, S is the name of the array. And in arrays, when you're accessing the values in an array, like if you want to get the respective value in an array, we always have to go for something called as index or position. So I is representing the index or I is representing the position of this array. So when the program started, we had here the value of I is 0. So when you say is Si greater than or equal to Q, in the first time when the program is running, we're going to go and check in the array S, index number 0, is that value greater than or equal to Q? So if it is greater than or equal to Q, you can see we're increasing the value of count. So that means we're going to increase the value of count only if this value is greater than or equal to how much? Basically, we are counting the number of times. Now, Si is S0 is talking the array S value, the index number 0 value. Index number, normally if you take an array, in an array, the index starts from 0. So let's say you want to display the number 10. So if you want to display number 10, you will mention display S0. So this will go to array S index 0. Mostly in array, index starts from 0, right? So this is going to be index number 0, index number 1, index number 2, index number 3, index number 4. That's how the index numbers are. Okay, these are called index or position, right? So we are going to go and check the value of array S index number 0. Is that value greater than or equal to how much? What is being tested in this question? We're going to go and check how many times he got. We're going to go. What's if you read this question, read this point and tell me. It is required to find how many times the player scored what. These are having each. He has played 10 games. Huh? Each game his score is there here. Okay. So we have to find out, is his score greater than or equal to how much? How many marks? And how many points? 5. So we are going to go and say the value in array S in index 0, we have value, right? We are going to go and check, is that value greater than or equal to 5? So therefore we can say Q is basically equal to 5. Is that part clear? And then if the value is greater than or equal to 5, what we are going to do is we're going to increase the value of count. So count is a variable that is going to be used to find out how many values are greater than 5. How many values are greater than 5? So that means before the program started, before you even check, no, if what's happening in these portions, you're going to go and check. Okay, inside the program, what's happening is you're going to go and check each and every value. SI is going to, in this part, you're going to go and check each and every value. Are they more than 5, more than 5, more than 5? So before you even come for this position, initially, what do you think the value of count has to be? Before you even started checking even one number, before you checked each of these numbers, initially, how many numbers was more than 5? Should be more than 5. My question was, we have an array here. Okay. In this array, we have multiple values. We are going to go and check each and every value. Is this value more than or equal to 5? Is this value greater than or equal to 5? Is this value greater than or equal to 5? So my point is, before you check this, before you go through the array and check, if I ask you how many values are more than 5, what will be your answer? Before you checked it. You don't even know it. No. Before you check the array, like if I have not shown you any of these numbers, without showing any of these numbers, okay, I'm not showing any of these numbers, without showing any of these numbers for you, I'm asking you, what do you call the, let's say the situation like this. Say we have a situation like this. Now, if I ask you how many numbers are greater than 5, what will be your answer? If I ask you how many numbers are greater than 5, what will be your answer? Do you even know what the numbers that I have? No. Now, if I show you one value, now if I ask you, as per now, how many values are greater than 5? How many? Up to now? One. So that means before you start checking, how many? Correct. So before you started checking, the number of values greater than 5 was 0. After you started checking the first one, now it became 1. Now it became 2. Now it's still 2. Now still 2. Now 3. So before you started checking, the value was how much? It was 0, right? So therefore we can say P is equal to 0. Is that part clear? Okay. So initially P is 0. Then you come and check, is I less than 10? So if I is less than 10, you're going to go and check, is SI less greater than or equal to Q? That is, you're going to see array S index 0 is it greater than or equal to q. So index 10, how much we have? 10. So we are going to go and check is 10 greater than or equal to 5. So when you go and check is 10 greater than or equal to 5, what do you think the result of this condition is going to be? True or false? When yes or no. If I ask you is 10 greater than or equal to 5, what is the result? Yes. So because it is yes, you're going to come here and you're going to increase the value of count. After you increase the value of count, you're going to come for this statement and you're going to increase the value of I. So after you increase the value of I, now what will be the new value of I? After increase value of I is going to be how much? All this time I was 0. So after you say I equals I plus 1, see from here I was 0, right? After you say I equals I plus 1, what will be the new value of I? It's going to be 1. Then you follow this line and come here. And again you come for the condition. In the condition you're going to go and check is I less than 10. So when you go and check is I less than 10, is 1 less than 10? Yes. So you're going to come on the right hand side. Now you're going to go and check is Si greater than or equal to Q, which means array S index I. Now I is how much? I became 1 now. So array index number 1, is it greater than or equal to Q? Q is what? 5. So index number 1, what is the value? Here the number is 5. So you're going to go and check is 5 greater than or equal to 5. So when you go and check this, what is the result? Yes or no? It's yes. So we'll come for the right hand side. Count equals count plus 1. So when you say count equals count plus 1, what will be the new value of count now? Correct. It's going to be 2. So I go and write here 2. Then you come up and go for the left hand side, I equals I plus 1. So after you say I equals I plus 1, what will be the new value of I? 2. Then you again come here, come back to the condition. Is I less than 10? Is 2 less than 10? Again, yes. You will go and check now. Is S index number 2, is it greater than or equal to 5? So index number 2 has the number 3. So you're going to go and check is 3 greater than or equal to 5. So when you go and check is 3 equal to 5, what is the answer? Yes or no? No. So you're going to go in the top direction and say I equals I plus 1. So now when you follow the instruction I equals I plus 1, what will be the new value of I? 3. That's how the program will work. So you'll check each and every value, index number 1, index number 2, index number 3, all these index value will go and check. After it checks everything, at last, this I less than 10 will become false and it will print the value of count. Number of times we got 5. Understood? So P is 0, Q is 5. Clear? Perfect. So the question is saying, the outpatient clinic in a hospital, what did you use to make the promo animation? It's paid. There's an AI tool called Higgsfield or something. Yeah, that's what I used. I forgot the name, but it's a paid one. The outpatient clinic in a hospital does not have a proper patient appointment scheduling system. As a result, the patient had to waste a lot of time when visiting the clinic as they did not know the exact time they would be treated. To solve this problem, hospital management decides to introduce a computerization. Okay. In the new system, the days are divided into different time slots that the patient can reserve. Propose one good way that the system can use to inform the available time slots for reservation to a patient expecting to make an appointment through the hospital website. Correct. That's correct. So you can say through a what you called through the hospital website, correct, or else through a scheduling application. Okay, that's the answer there. I mentioned through a website or app. Yeah, Harima bhai. I mean, the class though, I'm discussing doubts. Ajra, Shikhar. So list four main inputs that a patient needs to give the new system in order to get an appointment. Um, Name of the patient, okay. Contact details, okay. Preferred time slot, okay. No, illness, we don't mention this. Okay. Because why we don't mention illness is because sometimes we go for the doctor itself only when we don't know a problem. We don't go to visit the doctor when we already know a problem. If we know what's our problem, then we don't need to go for OPD. Okay. So in OPD, what happens? You go with your symptoms. So normally you go for name of the patients, contact details, fine, preferred time slot. Apart from that, the preferred date. Where's the preferred date? Because date and time, you can see they have mentioned the date and time is taken separately. The question had mentioned somewhere. Yeah, the days are divided into different time slots. So to mention the date of the appointment and time of the appointment, both. These are two different datas. Got it? So instead of illness, here mention date. Okay. So that was the answer there. When a patient successfully makes an appointment, write on one suitable method that system can use to send a confirmation message. Correct. Assume the system is really small, the requirements are clear, and the likelihood its requirement change will low. Then the waterfall monitoring what would be the most waterfall, correct. Assuming the system is developed and tested well from direct and parallel deployment, what development time do you suggest for this system? Direct seems like a requirement is wrong. The reason why you called direct deployment is not a suitable answer here. Okay. Even if you're telling direct deployment, your answer is not suitable. Just because there are no changes, that doesn't mean you're going to go for direct deployment. So in parallel deployment, can't you do changes? I mean, if the changes are low, what is the issue you have in parallel deployment? Are there any problems you'll have in parallel deployment if the likelihood of requirement changes are low or high? Are there any difference? My question is, you have mentioned here direct because likelihood of the requirement changes are low. Okay, that means you're saying the possibility of changes are low. So if the possibility of the changes are high, will you suggest parallel deployment? Why? What is the problem? No. First thing your answer is wrong. Direct deployment is not how you do it. Your answer has to be parallel deployment. Just think for a moment and tell me, why do you think parallel deployment is better than direct deployment here? Think about the scenario and tell me, why do you think parallel deployment is better than direct deployment? Just think for a moment. We can check which works better. Not exactly. So when you take hospitals, can you expect 100% everyone who is coming for the hospital to be able to have smartphone and to be able to use that appointment system properly? The computer appointment system? No. So there has to be people, I mean, there will be people, what you call, who needs to get adapted to it. So we can say parallel deployment because there will be older people who needs time to adapt to the new system. So until they adopt to the new system, we can have both the manual system as well as the computerized system functioning. Exactly. That's the answer there. If your reason for direct was correct, you would get marks. But I don't think direct is the most suitable answer here. Next, the single computer in a house is shared by all occupants using a single user account. Each person does various occupations and have varied interests. The files of each person are saved in the same folder in the document hard disk. Thus, each person undergoes great difficulty in finding his or her files, and the danger of files one person being accidentally introduced to another person. Write down two changes that you would suggest to improve. Create separate user accounts for each occupant. Correct. Segregate folders account occupants. No, there are two options. First is correct. Separate user accounts. Correct. Another option is not segregate folders account occupants. We can say, but partition the hard disk. More than folders, partitions are better. You can say partition the hard disk according to occupants. Got it? I don't know, Halima. Perfect. Write one reason as to why it is important to indicate the source when reproducing content taken from a published book. Correct. You can just mention to avoid plagiarism as well. In cloud computing, write down one advantage of using software as a service. Correct. Write down one disadvantage of software as a service. Correct. You can say internet connection, or you can say stable, constant or stable internet connection as well. That's also correct. No, others all are correct. Any other question here? No, it's fine. So these are the different slide layouts we have. Okay. There's nothing big about these layouts. It's just about just keep in mind one thing. What you called when you have like just a box, most of these boxes referring a text box. Okay. And when you have a box with these like multiple icons, like several icons, those icons are talking about including content. So when you say including content, this content can be anything. It can be a what do you call image, it can be a table, it can be a chart, it can be a graph, it can be anything. Content can be anything. Okay, anything can be even image, even a video you can put as content, right? So you go through everything. If you look at all the layouts, the first layer you have to keep in your mind is a blank layout. Okay, now go through all the layouts. The most what you call the prominent layout here is a blank layout. It is this empty. Okay, the blank layout. So in this blank layout, when you're creating presentations, mostly what happens is in the first slide, you might have this title. Okay. So if you notice the title slide and section header looks almost the same. See, kind of same, right? You have two text. No, just rectangle means I told you it's text box, huh? If it's just rectangle, it's a text box. If it's a box with like some icons, keep in mind they're referring to something called content. So if you take the title slide, in title slide we have two this ones, what you call two textbooks. In section as we have two textbooks. But nice to look at both the textbooks and see, are both of them in the same way arranged? Like the title slide and section header, are these arranged in the same way? No. So the not only they arranged the same way, even if you go and type a text here and type a text here, type a text here and type a text here, the difference you'll notice is in title slide, all the text inside you type will be center aligned. And if you take the section header, all the text you type here will be left aligned. That is why you can see in the title slide, the two boxes, the second box is in the middle. But section header, both the boxes are same size in height. So it's all starting from the same place. That's how you differentiate title slide and section header. Got it? Okay. And then you have the title only. See, only one box, that's title only. And then when you take what you call the title and content, see you have the title, there's a text box. Okay, you have the title for the text box. And then you have the content. So that's title and content. That's also direct. So you just keep in mind this rectangle is talking about like a text box and that icons is content. So title and content. And you might notice the two content and comparison, they look kind of same. So in two contents, what happens is you can see throughout the whole image, there's two contents and one title. Two contents and one title. So directly we say it as two content. But if you say comparison, normally, for example, let's say I'm going to compare something. I'll be like, I'll have the topic here. The topic will be, for example, let's say the topic will be something like, let's say, mm, types of let's say types of or let's say I'm going to say the topic as something like, let's say, stroke. Okay, types of, or let's say types of numbers. So I'll have one table talking about, let's say, prime numbers, example, another side talking about composite numbers. So I can have a description of prime numbers, description of composite numbers. So you can see in the left side, I have a common title, and below that common title, I can include two contents. But in the comparison, I have a topic and I'm comparing. Prime and composite scale, I'm comparing. So in comparison part, you'll always get two boxes, two rectangles as well. Okay, that's how the comparison works. And then what happens is you have the content with caption and picture with caption. So in content with caption, picture with caption, again, both looks the same only. The only difference you can see is you can, for example, mention a heading. You can mention some points below it, and then you can include an image. So you can see here the icon is mentioned, only the image icon is mentioned. But content with caption, again, you have a text, another text box. Here you can include image, okay? But apart from image, you can include any other contents as well, like a video or a table or a chart, anything. Why am I getting a call? It's still coming. Okay. What do you call? The content with caption, picture with caption, they look kind of same. The only difference is you have here only the image icon. Here you have a collection of icon. So in terms of like remembering this one, first of all, remember, okay, if nothing is there, it's blank. Okay. If you have just one text box in the top, that's title only. Okay. And if you have the title and you have a small, we call it subtitle, title and subtitle, we call this title slide. If you have something just like title slide, okay, like a title only, but both are like left align, like this equal, that's caption, section header. So it's not we don't use it at the beginning of the presentation. Like let's say our presentation had different sections. Between every section, we can include that. Then, for example, in a slide, if you're going to have something like a title and a content. So content, how you can find out? There'll be icon. If there is icon, then they're talking about something called content. So this is called title and content. So there can be certain slides with two contents. So this is called title and two content. So just two content. And sometimes you can go one step forward and the two contents can be like to compare stuffs. So you can call this comparison. Okay. And then you have title and content, two contents, title only, comparison, two content. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Then you have the content with a caption, a text, or image with a caption. Yeah, image with caption. Mostly they'll give you this as MCQ, so they'll just give you this as like they'll give you the fill in the blanks. They'll not ask you by heart this. So by just looking at the properties, you can easily tell it roughly. Tell me your just Ara, just let me know your questions you have just regarding this. Like, do you have any questions regarding this? Like, tell me a respective question, and then I'll answer that respective question. What's your question? If it's just a normal box, in this normal box, we normally go and type text. But if that box has icons, then you can include any contents. It can be this contents can be image, it can be video, it can be a table. So do you get the idea of the layouts? Very clear what I said. Any other questions? Okay. Anyone else have any other questions? That's how all these days everyone is working higher. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay, so as there's no other questions, I'm gonna end the meeting. Have a nice day. Bye bye.